check me out, man. One of the most common pieces of advice you hear when it comes to this whole concept of improving is to just be yourself. Let me say that again. Just be yourself. Now, I'm gonna tell you why this is probably one of the worst pieces of advice for your mental health and for your overall development on this journey, because your idea of the self is completely fucked up. So let's talk about it, man, because we gotta learn the subtle art of how to unlearn. You dig me? Let's break it down. So this concept of just be yourself, let's talk about why your idea or your labeling of the self is completely false. So in my opinion, self-improvement, this whole self-improvement niche, this whole self-improvement genre of content, of books, of this and that, is simply just watered down spiritual knowledge. It's the autistic level spiritual knowledge. It just gives it out to the masses, to the people who are trying to become better, and it gets them better in certain points. But like I said before on my other videos, self-improvement is useless without spirituality. And stop focusing on self-improvement, focus on self-mastery instead. You can go check those out on this channel after this. But that essentially is what this whole genre of just information is about. It's watered down spiritual content, it's watered down wisdom from the ancients, but it's butchered to the point where you don't really get the full grasp of it. And this is why the whole idea of just be yourself doesn't make sense. It doesn't truly add up if you really break it down to its bare parts, to the bare bones, because your concept of the self is what you've been accustomed to and what you've been essentially programmed, indoctrinated to from birth. I'm this, I'm that. My parents told me I'm this. My teachers told me I'm that. Society told me to do this. That is what you attach your identity, your ego, and your false illusion and sense of self to. So being yourself, you're just being what other people tell you to do. You're just being that version of you. That's why when people tell you this, just be yourself, you do it and you still don't feel like you're being yourself. You still feel like you're putting on a facade. You're still feeling like you're kind of like catering to other people in different situations. Okay, when I'm with my dad and my parents, I'm this version of me. When I'm with my friends and people my age, I'm this version of me. When I'm at work, I'm this version of me. Why? Because those different environments shaped and molded your identity for those certain circumstances. Like, you're not gonna act the same way as you would with your parents than you would with your friends. You're not gonna act the same way you will with your friends at work. It's just the situations call for different measures, you know what I mean? So, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing. You gotta learn how to adapt and kind of go with the flow of a situation, but this is not you. This is not the actual self. The actual self doesn't have any barriers, doesn't have any limits, doesn't have any insecurities, doesn't have any societal conditionings ingrained in it. It does not. So why the hell would you want to be yourself when you don't even know what the self truly is, when you don't know under all these layers, under all this baggage of what you've been molded and shaped to become, is the true version of you, is the unapologetic version of you, is you're basically your final form, your ultimate form, your true embodiment, your true expression of the divine spark that's in you. So how do you connect back to that self? Well, like I said, you got to learn the subtle art of learning how to unlearn. And it's not easy, but you have to slowly but surely get at it. And one of the biggest things of it, as my dog runs into the screen, is something that I posted on my main channel's community post not too long ago about asking if you guys do shadow work or not. Shadow work, a lot of people get a misunderstanding of what it really is. They hear shadow, they're like, oh man, I don't want to That sounds evil, bro. That sounds dark, bro. What the fuck are you talking about doing shadow work, bro? Is this black magic? No, bro, it's none of that shit. What it is connecting back to your true expression that's been repressed. Those parts of you that have been beaten out of you as a child. Like, don't do this. Don't do that. You're not supposed to do this. You have to act like that. That part of you, slowly but surely, as a kid, you put it in the back seat. And as you grow older and older and older, that shadow just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And you just start getting so rigid to the point where you only look forward. You never look to your right. You never look to your left. You never look behind you. You can never really tap into that part of you that's being repressed. And those parts of you, when you hear this idea of be yourself and you just go out there and be yourself and you still don't feel fulfilled, you still don't feel like you're being a true embodiment of all the aspects of yourself, that is your shadow telling you, hey motherfucker, I'm still here. Hey bro, you still haven't addressed me yet. I've been fucking sitting in this closet for 20 goddamn years, bro. Like, hello, like somebody help me out. Like, that's what it's saying, bro. So learning how to unlearn, it really comes down to shadow work, because when you look back at those parts of you that are repressed, you're gonna understand there's certain moments, key moments in your life, certain emotional, really traumatic experiences, not like so bad to the point where, oh, someone died or this and that. It could be very emotionally powered moments in your life that you kind of like went into like a weird state where you're just like, okay, I'm just gonna throw this in the backseat so I don't have to deal with this anymore. At that age, at a young age, bro, you're not equipped enough to deal with certain situations where you're really faced with conflict. You're just gonna conform and abide and just go with the rules because you're dependent on others. When you're growing up, you're dependent on your parents. When you're in school, you're depending on the teachers. When you're in a workforce, you're depending on your boss, on the whole corporate system to feed you and stuff like that. But when you're up to a point where you're an adult, when you're a young adult, when you're getting on this path, watching content like this on my channel, on my main channel, this and that, you are more aware and more able to actually face with those demons, with those conflicts that you've been kind of pushed to the past. And then when you do that, it's going to be uncomfortable. You're going to be like, damn, bro, this is a true version of me that I've been repressing. And you might be like hesitant to think that that's really you. Like, if you're growing up and you were a hothead, you were a hot kid, like you were just like getting in fights, this and that, and it's slowly beaten out of you, like to just be very conformed, be very mellowed out, this and that, you're gonna come back to that realization, man, I got a lot of natural anger in me. And that anger is just energy at the end of the day. Like, you got to understand that this whole concept of evil, good, dark, bad, this and that, lightness, whatever the hell you want to call it, is just your mind conceptualizing certain things. Like, say you go to the jungle and you watch an animal get killed. You in reality are gonna be like, in your mind are gonna be like, damn, bro, that is fucked up. That I don't wanna think about that. I don't wanna look at that. That's evil. But in reality, that's just the way it is. You're making it think it's evil, it's this, it's that. Like, your conception really paints a picture of your reality. Your perspective paints a picture of your reality. So same thing comes back to the shadow. If you think that these parts of you are bad, you're never gonna integrate them back into your life and embody your real self. Not be yourself, that type of shit. It's your real self. Like, I have the power to get angry and just snap on a motherfucker. Snap, go crazy. So I'm gonna integrate that part of me now, since I'm older and I'm more aware, I'm more in control. I'm gonna use that part of me in a more productive manner, because it's just energy at the end of the day. When you become aware enough and have enough control over it, you can put it in different aspects of your life. Say you're that hothead kid. Instead of being so passive and mellow and be like, I'm not gonna get mad at anything, everything's good. When people step all over you, you're gonna use that When you're in the gym, you're gonna use that. When you're competing in sports, you're gonna use that to your advantage. It's not harming others. You're not going out of whack and just going crazy, but you're using this power that's inside of you, that's been innately gifted to you. You have to think of these things that are all gifted to you. If you have a anger temperament to you, it's not a bad thing. You just have to have control over it. It can be used as a gift. You just have to change your perspective and become aware enough and then in control enough to actually use it properly. Like, say, let's take another example. You're someone growing up, and you didn't want to listen to other people. You didn't want to listen to authority. Like, most kids are like that, but eventually it's being out of them, school, parents, this and that. But you were even more. It took a long time for you to really beat that out of you. So when you go back into the shadow and you realize that, you can use this for your advantage. How? You're not gonna go out and start committing crimes because you don't want to listen to authority. You don't want to be a dumbass. I'm not saying you be a dumbass. What I'm saying is you can use this to your advantage. Maybe you want to be an entrepreneur. You don't want to listen to a boss. You don't want to listen to your managers, your this, your that. You don't like authority. Why not use this drive, this passion to not think about authority, to not live under somebody, and use it in a more productive manner where you're your own boss and you're help providing for people in a good, serviceable manner. Come on, is that bad? Is that evil? Like, you motherfuckers sometimes talk about, like, on YouTube, this and that, like, shadow work is dangerous to the point. Yes, if it's dangerous to the point, if it's given to the wrong person. But I think majority of people who watch my main channel and who watch this channel especially, you are not at the level at some of these people. You are searching for deeper sources of knowledge. You're coming on my channel, this and that. You're not going on the surface level self-improvement stuff. Jesus Christ, dude, look at my dog. Hey! You're not going on the surface level stuff. You've built up the capacity to deal with these complex topics, to deal with these complex ideologies, these concepts. So, if you're at that level, which I'm guessing you are, especially if you made it this far into the video, I'm guessing you are, you're not going to use this for a bad purpose, whatever you think is bad, because you want to use it to embody your high self, but also use aspects of your lower self. I'm going to make a video about this later on, talking about the three aspects of man: the animal, the man, and the divine. You learn how to use all three. If you're just in man mode, I'm just gonna go to work, I'm just gonna do this, you don't have that animal to you. You don't have that part of you that you can just really use to your advantage when it comes to physical prowess, physical pursuits, just drive, ambition. I'm a man, I'm a regular guy. And if you're just in the animal mode, you don't have the divine part of you to look at these animalistic behaviors and use them to a higher advantage. That's what semen retention is really about. I don't want to get too off topic, but it's using the repressed bad parts of you, animalistic parts of you, for higher ordeals, for higher pursuits, for higher desires. Like, that's what it's really all about. It's not just all about, oh, I'm just not gonna nut, I'm not gonna do this, I'm not gonna go look at girls, blah, blah, blah. No, it's using this power, this energy within you that's stuck at the lower centers to go up to the higher centers and use it for higher things, for higher creations, for higher just abilities. So, tying that all back into the idea of learning how to unlearn and this whole concept of shadow, you just got to be able to be aware enough to the point where you're watching yourself, you're observing yourself from a third person view when you're in these situations, when you're out and about. How do you conform to the situation? Are you repressing parts of you? I want to say this to this person. Doesn't have to be bad, relax. Like, right when I say that, you're probably like, hey man, I should go cuss at somebody right now. Like, no, like, relax. Maybe I want to say this to some person. Maybe it's a girl, maybe it's your friend, maybe it's a coworker, a boss, this and that, your parents. But I'm gonna repress it because I feel like I'm gonna snap, or I'm gonna feel like I'm gonna get just get so emotional, start crying, this and that. Like, that is your clear indication of what's being repressed, or what you need to go back and tap into and integrate back into yourself, because you're unlearning all the bullshit that other people told you about. That don't do this, don't do that, blah blah blah. Just be yourself. That is what you're unlearning, but you're relearning the version of yourself that's always been there and just been knocking at the door, waiting for you to really open it up and bring it back into existence. So when you do that, when you're going about your life and you realize these certain things, go back home, go back into your meditations, go back into your visualizations, your journaling, this and that, and write those down and just work on them and just think about those versions of you. And you're gonna go travel back in time to that child version of you where these things were being out of you, and you're gonna realize, man, logically it made sense why people told me not to do this, but I'm old enough, I'm grown enough, I'm more mature enough to be able to actually say, nah, I got this under control. You don't need to tell me what to do. I don't have to listen to this version of your life, of what you told me to live my life as, and I'm gonna put it all together into my own plan, into my own program, because I am progressing on this path of becoming the peak version of myself, and I don't need any repressed parts of me that are gonna act as missing pieces to the puzzle. I'm trying to put that shit all together and make a whole ass painting, a whole ass picture perfect fucking sculpture of what I'm supposed to really be. So I gotta say that is probably one of the biggest keys to actually developing yourself into your highest version, because you're not gonna become your best self if you're always just trying to be yourself to help other people be more comfortable around you, by letting society be more acceptable to your behaviors. You got to write your own script. You got to pave your own path, and it's not going to be the same for each and every person. You have different shadows that you need to go and address. I got different shadows I need to go and address. The next person, you guys got different shadows they need to go address, but it still comes down to the same concept. So when you go about your life and you're hearing these topics from, I don't know, whatever self-improvement person you listen to, or whatever books that you read, and it says be yourself, dude, yourself has been completely warped. Your idea of the self has been completely warped. And we can stretch this out even further to the very deep spiritual metaphysical side of things, that there is no self. You are the eternal source. But this video is going to get too long and it's getting too complex, because I'm just going to break it down on a very simple and practical level of how to integrate your real self by learning how to unwind and uncover the pieces to you that were kind of thrown in the trash, thrown in the fire, thrown in the garbage, and you need to go grab those motherfuckers back. Have you ever done that before? You've thrown a piece of garbage away and you're like, hey shit, something important, bro, I'm gonna go dumpster diving, look for that piece again, you know what I mean? Maybe it was an Amazon package and you threw away the whole ass box, but you forgot a little piece of whatever, a charger that was in there, and you just threw it all away. I'm gonna go back in there and grab it, you know what I mean? So same thing, same concept goes back to this. There's parts of you that you've thrown away. You need it, bro. You need that shit. You need it. And like I said, it's not gonna come from just meditating. You have to really go back and unlearn shit, and go back and reflect on these points and reconnect with these points that you were just like, I'm not gonna do this anymore because this person told me that. I'm just gonna be myself. Motherfucker, you're doing a complete opposite if you're trying to be yourself. Come on, you picking up what I'm putting down? Because this concept, I think for you guys, is gonna click. But if you go up to a regular person who's just getting on self-improvement, oh, I'm just gonna go to the gym, oh, I'm just gonna start meditating right now, like, it's gonna go right over their heads. This is deeper, it's more complex, but I'm trying to break it down in a very more practical way that you can apply into your life right now, today, after this video. Go and take your intuitive walk, like I said before, a couple videos in the past, and think about these things, and let your mind start roaming, and let these things start marinating, start bubbling up into the surface, and you're gonna be like, hey man, I need to go do some shadow work. Fulati Fitness was right. Fulati Fitness got the sauce. But hey, man, I'm just helping you guys point towards the right direction. The knowledge might be the same, like I said before, but the wisdom you gain from these type of tools, these type of practices is going to be completely different. So there it is, bro. Learning how to unlearn is how you truly become your ultimate self. It's not this whole idea of I'm just going to be myself, because you don't know what your true self really is, and you don't know the whole concept of what the self is supposed to be. You think it's supposed to be all good, and your concept of good, and it's supposed to be all joyous, light. No, bro, there's dark aspects to you. That's why there's a yin and there's a yang. That's why there's a night and there's a day. That's why there's a left and there's a right. Left hand path, right hand path. That's why there's an up and there's a down. That's why there's a higher self and there's why there's a lower self. The true self isn't just the higher self. You dig what I'm saying? It's the full thing, but it's using it to a higher degree. It's using it for higher purposes. You don't want to use your higher self to do lower aspect things, because you could, and I'm going to talk about that later on, because you guys asked me about how people use semen retention and very practice, like I said before, using an animalistic nature for higher degrees, but they're using those higher faculties for lower, going back into the animalistic side. I'm going to talk about that. Don't worry, probably the next video after this, because you guys been asking me about it. So that wraps it up, bro. The whole concept of this toxic mindset of just be yourself, you got to throw that away, bro. That's what you got to throw away, not the repressed parts of you. Bro, throw that away, bro. Throw away all the type of concept from these very bubbly, very light people, you know what I mean? Like, I talked about this before on my main channel about how new age spirituality is a scam, and self-improvement surface level is a scam as well. So those two go hand in hand with each other. I'm trying to give you all the real sauce that I've picked up from the real masters along the way. Not some fucking postcard of when you go on vacation and spiritual postcard shit, Facebook posts. You just gotta be yourself. Nah, man, that shit ain't gonna work, bro. We ain't living in a goddamn fairy tale. This is real life stuff, bro. So tap into your fullest self by learning how to uncover the true parts of yourself, by getting deep in the shadows, by getting dark in the parts of the unknown of your psyche, and just getting all up in there, bro. Getting all up in those weird parts of you, those repressed parts of you, those parts of you that have just been asking, that have just been bubbling, that sometimes get out of control if you don't address them soon enough. Like, those are the parts of you that you really need to just be like, hey man, what's good, bro? Sorry I've been MIA for a while, but Full Light Fitness brought me back here. We got a discount code that we can do a little consultation, you know what I mean? Like, let's figure things out. You dig what I'm saying? Because it's been your boy out here in the field, in the flesh, dropping y'all that game so you guys can make these gains. And I'm out of here. Peace.